What is going on, everybody? My name is Mike, and welcome to TrendSpider Live. Today, as the title suggests, we're going to be covering some of the key earnings that came out actually last night and this morning. The TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor earnings actually came out last night pretty late. I think it was like 9 p.m. my time, which is like, I think 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But anyway, I have TSM right here on my chart. If you guys are out there in the chat, let me know what's up. Thank you for joining, being an early bird to the stream. This is a different time than I usually go live, testing out some stuff here. Normally going live, pretty close to the market close to catch the earnings as, the market's closing for the post-market earnings. But today, taking a look at the earnings that happened this morning. So if you're out here and you like that time, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know who's out there. But let's take a look at what's going on. So right here on my chart right now, obviously we have TSM up, and I actually have the Mentor Q gamma levels indicators up as well. How's it going? Taba Lee from X. Great to see you here. And it's actually interesting. We're actually rejecting off the call resistance and the 1-day max level on the Mentor Q gamma indicator. I'll turn on after hours data so we can see everything that was going on. As I said, TSM did actually report earnings last night. And so at 4 a.m. this morning, when pre-market opened, you can see there was a nice gap up all the way up to right around like 343, just a little bit below where we're currently trading. And as the market opened, price came down a little bit, been kind of bounced around ever since. But yeah, that 340 level seems to be where the market is like in TSM right now. But let's take a look at the numbers. I don't know if you guys seen the numbers yet, but let's go ahead and take a look at them together. I was taking a look at them this morning. They looked pretty good. Going to be using Sidekick AI to go ahead and analyze them for us today. Of course, if you didn't know already, Sidekick is TrendSpider's AI trading agent. And you can use it to, analyze earnings, analyze your charts, plot news events on your charts. And right now, the prompt that I'm sending it is analyze, obviously, TSM earnings today. And let's just take a look at what it says. Basically, what I had it do is pull the actual EPS number, which happens to be $3.14 earnings per share, compared to the estimate of $2.79, which is, as it says, a 12% beat. And then last quarter in 2024 was 2.24. So as you can see, very nice EPS reading. Over here, we have revenue next. We got 33.7 billion for quarter 4 2025 actual versus the 33.3 billion estimate. And then you can see quarter 4 last year, 26.9. So pretty solid reports. Beat revenue by just a tad. Looks like about like 1.4% compared to the estimate, but 25% year over year and 40% year over year growth for EPS. And then of course I had to analyze the forward guidance. And as you can see right here, midpoint guidance, estimate was 35 billion or so, and revenue forward guidance was around the same. So guidance was in line, wasn't bad, wasn't great, but it was in line. So that's solid. Gross margin 63 to 65%, operating margin 55% about. And it says strong guidance driven by continued AI chip demand, of course, and advanced node capacity. Interesting. And then had to analyze the recent news for TSM as well. We have CEO dismisses AI bubble concerns. Probably said that in the earnings call or transcript, which is, good, I guess, saying there is sustained demand. He's calling it not a bubble, supposedly. We got some price target raises. We'll take a look at that here in a second. Obviously, stock is up. And let's see. Now we have the bull and bear case. AI super cycle intact, of course. U.S. expansion. Massive beat streak, of course. Bear case, valuation stretch. Let's take a look at the valuation ratios here of TSM. We'll start with the price to earnings. We actually have a price to earnings indicator here on the TrendSpider platform. You can just type price to earnings in your indicator dialog and add it to your chart. So go ahead and see it. Let me see. I think since TSM, we may not have it for actually TSM, just because it is basically in, is it in ADR? I'd actually have to double check, but we just didn't have the data for the price to earnings, which is fine. But as you can see, intraday price action, nice gap up this morning. We do have a gap up scanner, a recent power gap scanner that it probably would be showing up on. And we're going to take a look at that right now. But look at that volume right here on the earnings pop, basically breaking out to new all-time highs. And because of this, I was looking at the semiconductor ETF SMH, also hitting new all-time highs. So the semiconductor rally is still intact, you guys. Semiconductor rally is still intact and looking good. If you look at the daily here of SMH, very, very nice gap up. Take a look. About like 3% gap up on the day for the entire semiconductor ETF. And let's take a look also at the right here, see what other power gaps up that we've had recently. We have Comp. Comp was a very nice one. You see some pretty good consolidation here for, November to January. It's quite a while of, consolidation. Then it had a power gap up. Very nice look there on COMP. Has been a good one. What else do we have here that is interesting on the power gap scanner? This is a free scanner to import as well, by the way, you guys. I will drop the link to import the power gap scan if you are on TrendSpider and wanted to take a look at the results for yourself. You can, of course, search in the S&P 500, the NASDAQ NMS composite, anything that you want to do. Look at this RKT. Recently had some, some Trump news. As you can see right here, did an article on that like last week, showed up on the power gap scanner as well. Take a look at what else that we have here. Nothing. Oh yeah, CVX. You guys didn't see CVX, has been going kind of crazy with oil price. Let's take a look at XLE. And yeah, XLE has been doing pretty good, which is the energy ETF. If you look at it on the weekly chart, really hasn't gone anywhere in a couple of years, but recently it has been building a little bit of momentum. Mostly thanks to stuff like CVX, which is reacting to the recent Venezuela news. But speaking of sectors, let's take a look at my sector map right here. If you guys are on TrendSpider and you did not know, we do have these stock market maps that you can go ahead and use. And as you can see here, I'm looking at the right hand side for now. And what this is showing me actually is the change percent since close. So intraday change percent on the up and down axis right here. So anything towards the top is going to be the leader for today, which is obviously SMH. It is absolutely ripping today. And then stuff all the way to the right is going to be stuff leading the week, which is silver. Stuff at the very top right is stuff leading today and the week. But it's very interesting. Obviously, silver has been insanely hyped lately. We'll get into covering more of the earnings here in a second, but we got to take a look at this silver chart because, wow, it has been absolutely insane. I mean, look at that, you guys. Honestly, like gold and silver have been a perfect, let's take a look at gold too. And talked about this in the past, but like the monthly chart has been just like a perfect, picture perfect cup and handle pattern. Like ever since, and it's been building since 2011. And you have like this key pivot level here, like 185 or whatever it is here on GLD, about 185 to like 180. Key pivot level is reacted to several times. Cup right here, handle here, and then ever since the breakout above that has just been flying ever since. Getting pretty scary too at this point. I mean, this is clearly not normal behavior for metals. Basically people hedging against the US dollar. So I don't know if you guys are out there, you have any opinions or comments on the metals rally or surge, let me know down in the chat. But yeah, guys, has been pretty insane there. What else do we got here? So we actually did have a couple other earnings as well today. It was Goldman Sachs, which is also breaking out to another new all-time high. Pretty nice setup here overall. Let me take, yeah, this is actually isn't with pre-market data. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pre-market movement since it did, report earnings this morning. And we'll take a look at the numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the same exact prompt and just use it for Goldman Sachs instead of TSM. And yeah, you guys, definitely check out Sidekick if you haven't already. We actually just started a sale on TrendSpider today. You can save up to 50% off. Just go to TrendSpider.com. We'll drop the links down below in the chat as well. But yeah, you can save 50% off and check out Sidekick because it is honestly the best trading LLM on the market today. It has access to all of the market's data, which is insanely helpful. It does not, I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't hallucinate at all, but it doesn't pull any garbage info from the internet. And it's very nice. A lot of people love it. So you guys at least just have to try it. But here's what it says about Goldman Sachs. And by the way, you guys, if you aren't a part of our mailing list already, me and the marketing team here at TrendSpider, we put together, a lot of great value. We put a lot of time into our weekly newsletter emails. And there is the first link down below in the description to go and sign up for completely for free. Just enter your email and you'll get sent the weekly newsletter with tons of different trade ideas, market analysis of, the indexes, what's going on in the market every week. It's honestly probably one of the best trading newsletters out there. So definitely, if you're not already in it, sign up for free using the link down below. But let's take a look at Goldman Sachs earnings. Wow. Is this even real? 14 EPS, $14.01 EPS versus the 11.65 estimate, which is a 20% beat. And compared to last quarter too, 11.95. That is insane. Let me go ahead and add my reports tab here on the left, which is, yeah, let's see. Reports tab, yeah. So it is confirmed. That is the real number. And EPS was absolutely insane, crushed estimates, but it looks like I see a red revenue bar right here. Let's take a look at Sidekick is saying about revenue. Yeah, so EPS was great, but revenue was not great. Very mixed report here. Let's see what the forward guidance was. Revenue came in at 13.45 billion and the estimate is 13.79. So not like insanely terrible, but definitely not very good. CEO expects investment banking to accelerate in this year. Backlog at 4-year high, signaling strong pipeline. So no, specific numbers for their forward guidance were reported, at least, in the news. But it otherwise looks really good. Only thing bad so far I'm seeing is the revenue. Yeah, revenue missed despite strong EPS, top line growth weak. That is interesting. Apple Card exit creates uncertainty in consumer strategy. I totally forgot they were, back in the Apple Card for a while there. Let's see. It says trading comps will be tough going forward after a record quarter, which is interesting. Part of the bear case. Trading crushed expectations with record results. Is great for the markets. That makes sense. And dividend increase. Looks like there's a dividend increase. That's pretty cool. Yeah, dividend was raised 12.5% from $4 to $4.50 a share. Very cool. And look at that, you guys. I mean, would you rather just prompt this to Sidekick and have the charts put right in front of you, the numbers put right in front of you, all the recent news summarized, the bull and bear case, or do you want to go out and do something like Google and have to read like 6 different articles, showing a bunch of ads? I mean, Sidekick just makes this stuff so freaking easy. I love it. And as you can see, the chart seems to have reacted pretty damn good. As we saw before, it's breaking out to new all-time highs. It's going to be damn near at 1,000 here pretty soon on Goldman Sachs. It's at 974.46 cents right now. So looking really good. Let's take a look at, obviously it's financial. We'll take a look at the XLF ETF. Definitely took some heat recently, XLF, because of the recent news on Trump talking about, making the max credit card interest rate, what was it, 10%? So that really hit Visa, MasterCard, and the overall financials sector, but clearly not Goldman Sachs. As you can see, Visa here at a pretty nasty decline. It's down like, over 6%. Take a look at the weekly chart of Visa here. So yeah, it's trading at the lower end of its range, right around the 320. That's the peak over in, about a year ago, or 2 years ago now, 2024. That's quite a long time. It's not too crazily hurt, but if that actually does end up going through, definitely not good for credit cards. Obviously Visa and MasterCard, especially. And yeah, same with MasterCard, but did not hit Goldman Sachs. XLF, it's actually hanging in there pretty well too. Trading pretty close to its all-time highs here, and thanks to the Goldman Sachs earnings. There's been a lot of bank earnings this week as well. Bank of America reported, and so did JPM. You can see Bank of America had a gap to the downside. JPM, not a gap, but a pretty sharp move to the downside here on earnings. Let me double check what else was reporting today. That was like the main ones so far that we just covered. Yeah, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock reported, and Morgan Stanley. Let's take a look at BlackRock. Ooh, look at BlackRock. Just broke over 1,100. Pretty flat chart. I mean, it really hasn't gone anywhere since 2021. At least not very much at all. So definitely been kind of left in dust, but did seem to have a pretty good earnings report. Let's just take a quick look at the reports tab here. It's like $7 billion in revenue compared to last quarter is like 5.68. So that was pretty good. And then EPS also very nice there as well. Take a look at the news tab here on the right side. Better than expected Q4 financial results and raised its quarterly dividend. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, also AMD was popping today as well, you guys. Semiconductors are just flying today. Let's take a look at the king, or it was the king, NVIDIA. Yeah, it has moved up on the day. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, you can view the holdings of any ETF on TrendSpider. All you have to do is add a watch list here and then type in the sector name or just the ETF. I'm just going to use SMH ETF. Check out the holdings, see what's, leading the semiconductors today. KLAC absolutely ripping up 9% on the day at $1,566 per share. AMAT, very nice. A lot of these have been appearing on my scanners lately. Man, I think KLAC was one of them, and unfortunately I never took it. AMAT was another one. Should have taken it. Wow. AMD is breaking a nice pivot level today as well. I think will show up on my scanner after the market closes, and it's been holding this gap that it made right here on AMD, which is pretty interesting. If you guys are out there in the chat, let me know what you guys are watching, if anything. I'm sure you guys have some stuff that you've been watching that maybe I have not covered yet. Let's see what else. Obviously TSM is showing up here. MU, let's take a look at MU. Yeah, not flying like the rest or like some of the semis today, but it is a nice little gap up there. You see NVIDIA did gap up. How's Broadcom? Broadcom, man, ever since that earnings, we went live for their earnings, back about a month ago at this point. Man, it just hasn't been the same ever since. But yeah, that earnings call kind of ruined the price action. They're still hanging in there though. They still have a decent support level, as you can see drawn here around the 322 level. But let's go over back to, what was I saying, like BAC. Let me go ahead and close this out for now, Sidekick. But I want to show you guys something. If you guys are on TrendSpider, we do have, of course, the anchored VWAP built in, and it's very easy to go ahead and use. You just find a low point or a high point on the chart or both, and you just go ahead and right click the candle or right below it, create an anchored indicator, and type this Alpha Trends anchored VWAP, and that's how you go going ahead and plotting the anchored VWAP on your chart, you can do the same thing at all-time highs. Right click, create an anchored indicator, Alpha Trends anchored VWAP. It's a very useful and easy way to find support and resistance. It's going to show you the average price paid ever since that anchor. So right around here at like 48 on Bank of America is the average price paid since the low, which occurred on April 9th of 2025, or that swing low at least that occurred there. So that is how you use the anchored VWAP on TrendSpider. We also have the indicator as well. If you just go up to the indicators tab, type in Alpha Trends anchored VWAP and just go ahead and add it to your chart. It'll just automatically plot for you across several different timeframes or assets. So right here, you can actually right click on this line, and right now it's anchoring to the highest high. You can also anchor it to the lowest low over the last 50 or whatever window you want to make it. So now it's anchoring to the lowest low of the last 50 candles, which is right here. And it makes it really easy to have it plotted across any stock that you're looking at. Like if you just click through them, it's going to automatically plot, so you don't have to right click every time on every chart and plot them manually. Wow, look at AMAT. Semiconductors are just absolutely ripping today. Another thing that I like to do is open up the market scanner here. And since we know semiconductors are ripping, you're going to want to find out, what are the strongest semiconductor names, if you're looking for stuff to follow the trend on. So I'm going to say find stocks with, chats greater than 90 and RP greater than 90 in SMH ETF. Type find symbols now, or just click enter on your keyboard. And it put it to the S&P 100, but I'm just going to change it to the SMH. And look at that. These are the strongest names in the semiconductors right now. LRCX, Intel. I didn't see Intel until just now. Micron, which you take a look at, and TER. So, even though KLAC, AMAT, and some of these other ones like AMD are leading the day, you can find the real strength using TrendSpider's market scanner, just like this. Actually, this one needs the tech rank. Let's take a look at just the relative performance against the S&P 500. You can even view it against the same sector. It should be obviously semiconductors here. So yeah, same results though. It's looking like Micron, LRCX, and TER and Intel are going to be the strongest names in the sector. I can put on the chats indicator, and if the candles are green, that means it's trading at a value over 70, which is demonstrating internal strength. Let's take a look at, see if there's green candles across all of these. And of course there is, with that high of a relative performance over 90. Definitely expect there to be on there as well. This is a indicator, the chats indicator, created by Tushar Shande. We're going to have him on next week for Netflix earnings. So definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you'll be tuning in for that. Take a look at these stocks on his paraband indicator as well, which can help you find entry and exit points. I'll leave a link to the Shande indicators in the chat below for anybody interested, because he has a ton of awesome indicators. Chats is actually just built into the platform. But this is the paraband indicator, and it's very easy to read. When the background here is this light green color, it's essentially a long position, and then this green dots right here is your stop loss. So over here on MU, you can see if you were, following the trend using this indicator, your stop would probably be around like 264 here on Micron. Let's take a look at just the overall semiconductor ETF in general. Been a little bit more choppier than you would like to have it. I mean, it's been pretty good, Obviously in November, we had kind of a dip there, and it just recently, back in January, like basically the start of the year, it's been a great start of 2026 for the markets, honestly. So it makes sense. Just started going long again on semiconductors, and Massive gap up today. So if you did go ahead and get in, like the open at like 370 or 374 here, stock would be almost in profit at this point. It's been moving up steadily ever since. Kind of lines up with this anchored VWAP as well right now. So cool stuff there on semiconductors. Shout out to TSM for causing this massive gap up today. And now I'm actually going to use TrendSpider Sidekick AI to just analyze the overall market news for us. So it can be a super simple prompt. Take a look at the market news for today and sum up everything going on, especially with semiconductors popping off today. Greetings from Taiwan. It's 2:25 local time. 2:25 in the morning, David. Well, shout out to you for being awake, and thank you for joining the stream. Great to have you in here. Let's see. Yeah. So we're actually just taking a look at the TSM earnings, Taiwan Semiconductor earnings. I'm sure you've seen they absolutely killed it. But let's take a look at the overall news. Obviously, semiconductors leading the charge because of TSM crushing earnings. We did take a look at that already. And then there is obviously just a broad semiconductor rally. It looks like an RBC Capital Markets states AI bubble concerns have not derailed the semiconductor outlook, which is great. Hyperscale spending remains strong with chip equipment makers positioned as key AI beneficiaries. So obviously, chip companies, AMD, NVIDIA, ASML, AMAT, all these companies all trading higher. So great day if you're long semis. Other big stories. Yeah, we saw BlackRock up on their earnings beats as well and their dividend increase. And actually noted energy pullback today. Oil stocks are pulling back down after Trump said the killing has stopped in Iran, easing strike fears. So I guess USO. Let's take a look at the oil futures right over here. Let's take off these indicators just so we can see the price action real quick for a second. On the daily, yeah, oil took a pretty nasty dive today. Let's take a look at CVX again. CVX is actually green, so oil's pretty weird. XLE ETF is up since open, but down since yesterday's close. So overall, not the craziest movement, but oil prices themselves are down quite a bit. Clearly did not affect the rest of the energy names that much, but still interesting. It's saying, CVX pullback. I'm not seeing that big of a pullback. XOM, still pretty close to, is that at all-time highs? Yeah, XOM essentially at all-time highs right now still. But oil price is definitely down. Some big movers here. J&J reports earnings pretty soon here. And it looks like they reported a positive phase 3 results for a blood cancer drug, which is interesting, sending them to what looks like, all-time highs on J&J. Didn't see that one coming. What is their relative performance looking like? 83 relative performance score, which means they are outperforming 83% of the S&P 500. What are the analysts predicting on this? So we still have some analysts predicting about 240 on the top side for J&J. They are currently around the median and average analyst estimate for today as well. Take a look at what else is going on here. Let's see. This is some random IBRX is flying today. Looks like some bio name. Not a big bio trader, but looks like there's some good news on this that Sidekick found. LLY and Nova are down on, I guess there is a lawsuit over GLP-1s. Interesting. So LLY down and NVO down. Pretty good today. LLY's been killing it recently, though. trading pretty close to all-time highs, but that brought it down today. I'm assuming I haven't really looked at him stock in quite a while, but it's looking yeah, pretty beat up. Let's take a look at, we'll add like the like an SMA 200 or something, see where it's lined up compared to its moving averages here. Wow, way below that 200 SMA on the daily. So yeah, clear downtrend there on HIMS. Clear downtrend there on HIMS, and I'm sure that news on those stocks is not really helping that much today either. And again, anchored VWAP is a great way to find key support and resistance here on TrendSpider. You're just going to want to find a swing high or a swing low, which is just fancy name for the highest or lowest points on the chart. So I'm just going to go back to the September low, right click, create an anchored indicator, and use the Alpha Trends anchored VWAP. And as you can see, this is the average price paid since the September low, and it's all the way up there at around 44. So again, almost kind of lines up with that 200 SMA, confirming the downtrend that we are in. So it's going to be hard to go ahead and go long HIMS. You can also go to the swing high, right click over the candle, and click the Alpha Trends anchored VWAP, and they actually line up at right around the same spot. So if you want to see anything here in HIMS, you're going to want to wait probably for a break above like 44, honestly. Pretty key level right there, as confirmed by several points on the chart. But let's see. I mean, that was an awesome reading from Sidekick. Did we miss anything else in here? Oh, Netflix. Netflix, like I was saying earlier, reports earnings next week, and we'll be live with Tushar Shande. And what was the news on them? They announced a global licensing deal with Sony Pictures. Love this. Bottom line, semiconductors are absolutely ripping today on TSM's blowout results, confirming AI infrastructure spending is real and accelerating, and the sector rally is broad-based, not just isolated to a few names, which we can go ahead and confirm in the SMH ETF. Only thing not up in the semiconductor ETF today I'm seeing is QCOM, TXN, NXPI, SWKX, Skyworks. Wow. And just a stock that I've been watching recently is SanDisk, making another new high today. Look at this beautiful setup here. Basically, I don't know if you call that bull flag or what, but volatility contraction pattern, honestly, right here. High volume breakout. You can either count this one as the breakout above this pivot, or the main breakout was like right here on January 6th. And ever since then, it has been flying higher ever since. Is a spinoff of WDC, which is Western Digital, which is also hitting new highs. So these are like probably the top trending stocks out there right now, or some of the top trending stocks out there on the market right now. Look at the pair band indicator. I mean, this thing has not stopped trending for even a second in the last, year and a half or so. Since May of 2025, SNDK is still like a brand new stock, but as you can see, ever since August 2025, I mean, it's just been absolutely killing it, you guys. So definitely keep an eye on these stocks. Leading the market pretty good. I'm not even sure if the stock is so new. It doesn't even have a relative performance yet, but WDC relative performance, yeah, it's through the roof. It's basically 100. So absolutely insane trending stock. Let's make a new scanner here and just see what the top, trending stocks are out there in the market. RP greater than 99. I'm just going to search for RP greater than 99. Let's see. Chart Sage. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why you should hop on TrendSpider and sign up for the free newsletter using the free link down below. That is the Tushar Shande's para band indicator. Let me go ahead and pull it up for you. I actually did. Let me go and drop the link again for you. Let me just find it actually. On the TrendSpider store, if you didn't know, we have an entire store. I will drop the link for down below right now. Here, let me find the actual indicator for you though. So I'm just going to bring this over here. So if you just go to the store and indicators and type in Shande, It'll pull up all of his indicators. And the one that I've been using right now is the Paraband. We're going to have Tushar Chanda, the guy who built these indicators, on a live stream 2 times over the next couple of months, next week on Tuesday. So definitely tune in for that if you want to see it in action. But here's the link for it. I'll drop it in the chat down below. And that is for the Paraband indicator specifically, which is the one that I'm using. That, shades is an awesome indicator. I'm also going to drop all of Shande's indicators collection in the next link. So take a look at those on the TrendSpider store. Now let's take a look at all of the highest performing names with, actually, let's make this even better. So right now I'm searching for relative performance greater than 99, which means all these stocks are outperforming 99% of the S&P 500. But I'll make it even more strict. I'm going to add 100-day rate of change greater than 30. It's another momentum filter that I personally use. Hold on there. Now add another condition. Daily chats index is greater than a constant value. Let's put this at 90. So this is going to be very, very strong stocks. And you see there's still tons of them. Let's actually search. I didn't know there's going to be so many, honestly. Let's take a look at these in the S&P 500. The TrendSpider stock scanner is incredibly versatile. You can actually search through any sector list, any ETF, the entire market, like the NASDAQ composite list. But look at this. Excuse me. In the S&P 500, we have 3 stocks. 3 stocks pretty much leading everything. So this is essentially how you find the best stocks in the S&P 500, are the ones that are outperforming quite literally everything, you guys. This scanner right here, I'm using relative performance greater than 99, 100-day rate of change greater than 30, and the chats index greater than 90. So everything here is going to be insanely, having very insane momentum is basically what I'm trying to say. So MU, STX, and WDC. So if you only, want to follow the biggest and greatest trends out there on the market, this is the scanner that you can use. And you can build it incredibly easy using TrendSpider's AI market scanner. I pretty much just did all the stuff essentially just with AI. You just click the AI button right here, and you can go ahead and just type what you want to see. And again, you type relative performance greater than 99, 100-day ROC or rate of change greater than 30, and then chats greater than 90. And it brings you down to just these 3 names in the S&P 500 index, which is WDC, MU, and STX. You can pair that up with an indicator, just, like a Shanda indicator, or just, any, the 9 EMA, whatever you like to use to help you get into trades and out of trades. And yeah, that is a very, in my opinion, very useful tip on how to find the top stocks in the market. It's interesting that MU is on here. You can also add the chats indicator to your chart, which colors candles based on chats levels. So obviously, since we use the scanner, they're all going to be green, but it's an easy way to visualize when the stock has been, downtrending and when it has been uptrending very easily, as well as with the relative performance indicator on my lower chart setup right here. Yeah, all very nice trades. STX have been seeing quite a lot. Seagate. I think STX has earnings coming up. We'll definitely be going live for it. Earnings are scheduled right now for January 27th in about 12 days. It's about 2 weeks. Tune in for STX earnings. When is MU earnings? In fact, they just reported. Yeah, they did. So we won't see MU earnings for a bit. WDC should be a fun one. When are their earnings? January 29th post-market. We'll definitely be going live for WDC earnings. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and like so you can tune in and join us for that. That'll also be the same day as Apple earnings on the 29th. So tons of great earnings coming up, you guys. So definitely tune in to watch all of them with us live. But let's take a look at the intraday markets on the S&P 500 today. Turn off the chats indicator. Maybe put on our Mentor Q gamma levels. Why not? What is this right here? Some alert that was set. Currently trading. Let's go into like, I don't know, the 15-minute. But the SPY, as you can see, if we just quickly hop over to the daily, it gapped up this morning. And then on the, go back down to the 5. You can see here on the 5, ever since the gap up, really it's just been going sideways. Chilling at the call resistance and call resistance 0 DTE level right here. So, pretty good day for the markets overall. If you're holding overnight, that is. If you're trading intraday, not much going on. Obviously, you could have traded pre-market like the futures. Take a look at the ES. Yeah, so the market opened right around here, but yeah, all the movement happened in the pre-market, probably thanks to the TSM earnings. All right, let's see. And yeah, you guys, I was talking about how you can go ahead and find the strongest stocks on the market. And if you guys didn't know, TrendSpider does have an anchored trailing stop indicator. So let's just say, you wanted to hop in a trend based on, like maybe the pair band indicator right here, but you wanted a different stop loss level. You can set up an anchored trailing stop on the TrendSpider platform. To go ahead and set up an anchored trailing stop, just use the point at which you got into the trade. So if you got in, right here, you can just right click, create an anchored indicator, and then do trailing stop long anchored. Then you can go ahead and right click on that and change it to whatever you want. Let's just change it to like 30% now, just so you guys can see how it works. And that is how you use the anchored trailing stop loss indicator on TrendSpider. You can also set up alerts to automate your exits with it. So if you're a person that does use trailing stops, you can right click the line, create an alert at the line. And if the stock ever breaks through or touches it even, you can set up the sensitivity to 0, confirmation candles to something low like the 10-minute, add a note for signal stack. So that way it can actually sell the stock in your actual broker, set the expiration to something like 90 days and create the alert. And then basically once it hits your trailing stop, you can either send that alert to your broker to exit the trade for you automatically, or you can send it to something like a Discord to alert you. And it'll of course go to your mobile phone and wherever else you want it to go. So that is how you actually use the anchored trailing stop indicator here on the TrendSpider platform. I'm going to go ahead and actually cancel that alert for now, because I don't need it right there. That was just for demonstrations. Well, let's see. You guys are out there and you guys have any questions about anything in the market, let me know. Again, it is, great day for the markets, but it's intraday. It's been pretty slow. So if you guys have any questions about anything, let me know down below. Can definitely go ahead and answer them for you guys. It is the calm before the storm for a lot of these earnings, because next week we're gonna have 3 earnings lives? Yeah, 3 earnings lives, and the week's coming gonna have tons and tons of earnings. So make sure to go ahead and tune in for those. Let me pull up this silver chart again. Something I've been doing, messing around with too, is putting silver over TLT equals silver over TLT. Obviously been ripping, or maybe it was like equals TLT over SLV. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, if you guys wanted to create a composite chart on TrendSpider, it's actually very easy to do. All you have to do is type an equal sign, and then you can divide any asset over the other. So if you want to see, again, silver compared to SPY, you can type SLV over SPY. and it'll put that chart right on your chart. And you can do the same thing for any combination of symbols. You can even build like your own, custom like ETFs. You can do like SPY plus TL or SPY plus QQQ divided by SLV plus GLD. Kind of just making these up right now, but that's an interesting composite chart. You can do any combination of stuff, which is kind of the point here. So definitely be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Very cool feature. Again, you just use an equal symbol and you can type any asset over another asset. So if you want to compare, XLF financials to the S&P 500, you can type that and this will plot, that composite symbol, financials over the S&P 500 right on your chart, which can be useful for comparing two assets to each other. Go back here to the 5-minute of the S&P 500. Let's take a look at TSM on the 5-minute. Yeah, so ever since its earnings pop, it hasn't gone much of anywhere, but still very, very nice move. Great for the semiconductors, the semiconductor sector. And let's take a look at the SMH holdings today and see. We got still KLAC leading the day still. We got AMAT second to next, best one there. And now I have been talking a lot about this relative performance indicator, so maybe I'll just quickly explain what the relative performance indicator does. So first of all, if you want to add the relative performance indicator to your chart, you just type in relative performance into the indicator box up here. It's just called relative performance. You click it and it'll add it to the lower panel here. And by default, it uses the S&P 500 as the benchmark on a yearly quarter four weighted basis. And basically what it's doing is that it compares any stock to the S&P 500. So right here on AMAT, it has a reading of 96.2, which means quite literally it is outperforming 96.2% of the S&P 500. And so it's a great way to spot which stocks are outperforming the overall market, which is incredibly useful for trend following. Something that I like to do is open the market scanner, type RP greater than 99, and just click enter and find symbols now. It's going to find you all the stocks with an RP greater than 99, which is obviously the highest reading that you can get across the entire market. And you can search for, anything across the entire NMS composite, for example, here. And everything I click now will have essentially the highest relative performance possible. And it's a great way to find the top trending stocks in the markets or from any sector or ETF that you would like. We have NBIS here. It's a pretty popular name. Didn't even have a relative performance reading until just recently because it does require a solid amount of data. Since it is comparing it to a basket of stocks, it needs some historical data. NBIS back on the move. We got RKLB as well. 99.4. The space stocks have been ripping. That makes a lot of sense. Open, another big one here at 100. It's not very common you see literally 100. It's outperforming 100% everything in the S&P 500. Very cool. So yeah, that's the relative performance indicator explained for you guys. Yeah, have been live for nearly an hour at this point. What time is it? 10:49 Pacific Standard Time. Since it's, a pretty slow day, not much out there going on, probably will go ahead and call this soon. So if you guys do have any questions, be sure to let me know down in the comments now. But otherwise, we'll probably peace out here pretty soon. Thank you, David. Appreciate you joining. Make sure to subscribe so you can join us for future lives. Would love to see you back. Take a look at some recent power gaps. Here. So yeah, guys, if you guys didn't know, we have tons and tons of built-in scanners here on the TrendSpider platform. One of my favorite ones is the recent power gap scanner. To access the recent power gap scanner, just type in recent, or first, to access the power gap scanner, you're going to want to add a watch list onto your platform on your sidebar, add it to the right or the left. I already have it here on the right side. And then once you do that, just click on it and type recent power gap. And you're going to click the one that says recent power gap. If you don't have it already, you can import it from the TrendSpider store and just go ahead and click it. And then you can click the refresh button to scan it. I've already hit the scan button, but basically everything that pops up here is going to recently have had a gap up on high volume. And so you can use this to build a watch list of stocks with a gap below it that you can use as your stop loss or as like a momentum ranking. I'm sure a lot of the things in here will probably have a really high relative performance score as well, as you can see on the RP indicator down below. Stuff like KMT, massive gap up, relative performance of 94, very strong stock. Comp, this has been a great one. This is Compass Realty, relative performance of 98. Recently had a power gap above this nice consolidation area. So it's a very nice scanner to use. Again, it's called the recent power gap scanner. You can use it using the link down below completely for free. Zeta is on the recent power gap scanner as well and actually just filled its gap. HAL had a power gap and then sort of filled it, almost filled it, but not quite. VLO, I've seen this one. Big power gap there. So it's a really great scanner to go ahead and build out a watch list of strong names, especially if you like to trade power earnings gaps. Pretty useful strategy, common one that people trade. So great scanner to import. See, we have RKT, Rocket Companies here. Had a Trump news gap even. Did an article about that. You can go to TrendSpider's blog and read all about it. But again, it showed up on the power gap scanner because of the high volume gap to the upside. Want to know what also is a really cool thing you guys can do on TrendSpider, you guys, is the use of the auto chart patterns feature. So if you click at the top up there on chart patterns, there's tons of different ones that you can use. I like to sort by symmetrical and ascending triangles since they're bullish. So all you have to do is click on chart patterns and click on the three dots and just trigger on any of the ones that you want to use. But it doesn't stop it there, you guys, because you can actually scan for like breakouts above this. As you can see, RKT did have a breakout above. It's looks like a symmetrical triangle here. But let me show you guys a cool little workflow using the market scanner. So I'm just going to open up the market scanner, say find stocks breaking above a symmetrical or ascending triangle. Press find stocks now, and then make sure your chart patterns are active right up here. I have a triangle ascending and triangle symmetrical ticked right up there. And AMD pops up, as you can see, breaking right above that ascending or symmetrical triangle. You got IBM breaking above, looks like both an ascending and symmetrical triangle on the daily here, and BlackRock, BLK, breaking above this symmetrical triangle on the daily. And you can search through it through any ETF or the entire NYSE composite, for example here. Take a look at some more stuff. DY has been a great one. Look at that ascending triangle breakout to the upside there. Very nice on DY. SPUD. Another breakout. Someone asked in the chat, we think this is pulling back overnight. I'm assuming you're talking about TSM. I don't know. It just had a power earnings gap to the upside right here on TSM. So I don't know if it'll pull back overnight. I do not know if it'll pull back overnight. I wouldn't think it would personally. Let's take a look at the intraday price action. Yeah, ever since the Miami reported earnings last night, let's turn on the after hours session data. So it's been, pretty pumped up ever since the market or the pre-market session opened. And it's been hanging in there relatively good. Had some good buying action at the open. So I think right now it's just kind of stagnating. Everybody has, consumed all the news, the good reports, and it's kind of just chilling right now. It's, I don't personally think it's going to pull back. I would think it probably holds this level, but 350 on the boards for tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it hit there today. It wouldn't surprise me to see it back at 350 personally. Let's take a look at some other power earnings gap that have happened and see how they have reacted. So another thing I can do, since we already have the recent power gap scanner there, I'm actually going to open that. So recent power gap in the actual market scanner down here. Let me check this open. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to search through the SMH ETF and see if there's anything actually appearing in, AMD. Actually did have, look at AMD. AMD is almost a perfect example. It didn't have a power gap up on earnings, but it did have that nice gap here. And look at it, barely went back down and tested that level. MCHP microchip had a power earnings gap right here. And this is how it reacted. Never, ever even got back into the gap. I feel like that's usually how it goes. Of course, not all the time, but for TSM, I'd expect similar price action, probably hold and just consolidate here for at least another few days, few weeks, and then maybe pick a direction based on what the overall market and semiconductors are doing for that day. It's my personal opinion. Yeah, CRWV, I haven't looked at that one today. Good call, good call. Let's take a look. Yeah, CRWV core weave. Got a couple anchored VWAPs drawn right here. Again, I don't know if you're just joining the stream, but we do have an anchored VWAP tool on TrendSpider. You can just right click on any candle. Remove the anchored VWAPs for now. So yeah, you right click on any candle right here, create an anchored indicator. You can do Alpha Trend's anchored VWAP right there. So you can see since the IPO, the anchored VWAP is sitting right above CRWV's current price, right at around like 105 or so. You can see the actual value right here, 104.22. So that's the level I would probably be watching in CRWV, and another anchored VWAP right above. So that's going to be the key levels for CRWV to break above according to the anchored VWAP. But it is having a nice breakout today. This is the weekly chart, and it's breaking above this pivot level here at like 92. Take a look at something closer like the daily, and you see this pivot level right here. Really the first day we had these 3 wicks kind of rejecting this pivot level, but then today just gaps right on up. So it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good on CRWV. Good call out there. But yeah, you guys, I think we're probably going to go ahead and call it there. This live has been on for, like about an hour now. It was great seeing everybody out there, those of you who showed up. And I will catch you guys next week. The first live is already pinned on the YouTube channel for next week. It's going to be, again, Netflix earnings with Tushar Shande. So absolutely tune into that, so you don't miss it. Netflix, has been in that bidding war with, was it Warner Brothers and Paramount Skydance, been selling off because of it. So it should be a fun one to watch, you guys. So with that being said, I will catch you guys next week and have a great rest of your trading day. Peace.